Let's get one thing straight. Women don't respect you because you're nice. They don't respect you because you buy dinner, text back fast, or try to understand their emotions. They respect one thing above all else: your boundaries. In a world where men are trained to please, to prove, to pursue, the man who draws a line and stands by it, he becomes rare, unshakable, magnetic. Because women will test you, not to destroy you, but to feel your depth, to know, is this man grounded in something real, or does he fold when I push? Your boundaries are not walls. They are mirrors. They show her who she's dealing with. And the more you respect your own limits, the more she will respect your presence. If you're ready to stop overgiving and start leading with strength, like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment below. I set the tone, not the world. Let's break down the 5 boundaries that silently build massive respect. Number 1. Why she craves what you don't show. When the storm of desire rages inside her, she doesn't seek a man who throws money at the wind. She craves something far more elusive: your calm, unshakable presence. You've been told for years that money makes you desirable, that the car you drive, the watch on your wrist, and the number in your account determine your worth. But what if that was a lie? What if the currency she truly responds to can't be deposited in a bank? Stoicism reveals what many men have forgotten. Your inner state is your true magnet. She doesn't long for your wealth. She longs for your control. When you hold your emotions like a seasoned general commands his troops, unshaken, clear, and deliberate, she follows not because you force her, but because you lead from within. The world may teach you to chase recognition, to react to her silence, to explain yourself when she withdraws. But the Stoic man does none of this. You instead become the mountain, still and strong, while storms howl. She tests you not to punish you, but to feel your steadiness. She pulls away not because she wants distance, but because she needs proof that your center doesn't collapse. That's why when she acts cold, your warm reassurance, wrapped in confident detachment, disarms her. I see what you're doing. Are you asking for my attention or testing its value? You say this not with accusation, but with certainty. In that moment, you're not chasing her affection. You're offering a mirror to her chaos, and she sees you standing still. Emotional dominance isn't manipulation. It's mastery. You don't suppress your feelings, you command them. You don't fake detachment, you practice presence. Seneca would say, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. So when her mood swings like a blade, you don't flinch. You become the sheath, grounded, silent, and protective. Psychology echoes this truth. Emotional intelligence, the ability to manage your own reactions while sensing hers, is one of the most powerful traits that draws a woman in. She doesn't consciously say it, but she's scanning for it. Is he reactive? Does he break when I bend? If not, then maybe he's the one I'll surrender to without losing myself. Carl Jung called it integration of the shadow, the ability to acknowledge your inner storms without letting them drown you. When you practice this, you no longer respond to provocation with panic. You respond like a man who has been here before, and that's what she can't resist. Now speak out and comment below. I control my storm, she follows my stillness. Number 2. The irresistible pull of your mystery. She doesn't fall for the man who lays out every card on the table. She hungers for the one who keeps just enough behind the curtain to ignite her curiosity. You may have thought openness means connection, that giving all of yourself up front will win her heart. But she doesn't want access. She wants the thrill of earning it. The erotic pull begins where certainty ends. When you become predictable, you become replaceable. But when your presence whispers depth, when your actions hint at an untold story, she leans in, not out. You don't ignore her texts to play games. You simply don't revolve around validation. She isn't your gravity, your purpose is. And that distance, intentional, grounded, meaningful, creates space for desire to grow. This is not aloofness, it's purpose. You move with intention. Your kindness isn't desperation, it's selection. You're available but not always accessible. You're warm but not wide open. Because you understand this, the deepest hunger in her isn't for your body, it's for your mystery. The unknown awakens her imagination, and when she imagines you, she invests in you. From the Stoic lens, this mystery is the fruit of living for higher values. You do not shape yourself to be liked. You shape yourself to be real. Like Marcus Aurelius, you walk alone if necessary, because your principles hold more weight than temporary affection. And in that solitude, she sees a man unbothered by the tides of approval. That silence, it speaks louder than words. Psychology backs this phenomenon. The uncertainty effect triggers dopamine. When she can't fully predict your next move, her brain becomes addicted to the possibility. She feels alive. And that aliveness, ironically, isn't caused by you chasing her. It's caused by her chasing the mystery in you. Carl Jung would say this activates her animus, the masculine archetype, in her unconscious. You become the mirror for something she's seeking within herself. Strength wrapped in silence, warmth guarded by discernment. She doesn't want your every thought. She wants to uncover them one by one, because that's how meaning is built. But there's a line you must walk. Too much mystery becomes distance. Too little becomes dullness. The secret is this: reveal yourself in layers, not walls. Give just enough to intrigue, not overwhelm. Let her wonder, let her wait, let her work for closeness, because only what is earned is truly valued. Now speak out and comment below. My silence creates the space where her desire is born. Number 3. Certainty. The silent authority she can't resist. She doesn't need your money. She needs your certainty, not the kind that comes from control, but the kind that radiates from within you, unshakable, calm, and immovable. In a world that trembles with overthinking, indecision, and drama, you become the mountain she leans on the ground beneath her chaos. Certainty isn't noise, it's presence. When you walk into a room, your shoulders don't scream power, your stillness does. You don't raise your voice to dominate. Your silence commands more than words ever could. This isn't arrogance, it's anchored self-respect. It's not needing to be right because you're already whole. She tests you not to see you fail, but to feel your foundation. When she throws emotional waves at you, she's not looking for argument, she's craving assurance. Can you stay rooted when she's spinning? Can you remain clear when everything else blurs? Because when you don't flinch, when your peace stays intact, she finds something in you she can't find in herself yet. A center. Stoicism teaches that all external things are fleeting, but virtue and strength within are permanent. Marcus Aurelius didn't command empires with loudness. He ruled through calm, through the unwavering belief that no storm outside can move a man who controls his soul. Your certainty becomes your leadership, not through dominance, but through stability. In psychological terms, this is what attachment theory calls a secure base. You don't just provide attraction, you provide emotional safety. When she knows your emotions won't collapse at the first sign of discomfort, she trusts deeper. She follows not because you force it, but because she senses she's safer in your energy than in her own chaos. Jung would say, your certainty is the manifestation of a fully integrated ego. You're not tossed around by every shadow, every wound, every rejection. You've looked your demons in the eye, and instead of running, you've invited them in. And when a man does that, his stillness becomes holy. But remember, certainty isn't stubbornness. You must be grounded, not rigid. Leadership isn't barking orders, it's standing tall while others fall apart. When she senses your decisions are shaped by wisdom, not fear, she stops testing and starts trusting. This is the secret. You don't chase, you don't react, you stand. And when you do, she follows not because you demanded it, but because your presence made her feel like she finally found the eye of the storm. Now, comment below, I remain calm when the world loses itself. Number 4. Command over attention, the power of undivided presence. When you walk into the room, do you disappear into your phone, your thoughts, your distractions? Or do you take command not by force, but by presence? She doesn't crave noise, she craves attention. But not the cheap kind, not the kind you give everyone. She wants the kind of attention that feels like sunlight cutting through clouds, silent, warm, and impossible to ignore. This isn't about staring at her or flattering her endlessly. This is about being here, fully. When you listen to her, she doesn't just want you to hear her words. She wants to feel like her soul has your attention. That for those few moments the world fades and she becomes your entire focus. You see, attention is currency, and the more selective you are with it, the more valuable it becomes. When she realizes you don't hand your attention out freely, when she sees that your focus is earned, not given, she begins to crave it. Because in your gaze, in your listening, she feels seen in a way no compliment ever could offer. Stoicism teaches you to master the moment, to live in the now without judgment or distraction. When you practice presence, you're embodying this philosophy. You aren't reacting to the noise of the world, you're rooted in the clarity of what truly matters. You give her something few men can, your undivided presence. Psychologically, this is called active attention. Studies show that when someone feels truly heard and seen, their trust increases, their guard drops, and emotional intimacy deepens. So when you put your phone away, lock eyes and listen, not to reply, but to understand. You're not just talking, you're bonding. Jung would say, you're touching her anima, the unconscious feminine within. When you're present, she feels mirrored, reflected. She feels understood without needing to explain everything. And that kind of connection, it's rare, it's addictive, it's unforgettable. But don't confuse presence with performance. This isn't about pretending to care. This is about caring enough to slow down, to breathe, to look her in the eyes and say with your stillness, I'm here, fully. And here's the truth. You don't need to talk too much. You don't need to impress. Your calm attention, your quiet presence, it speaks louder than 1,000 rehearsed lines. So when she speaks, be the man who doesn't just listen, be the man who absorbs, who sees beyond her words. Because in that moment you give her something money never can, the feeling of being fully understood. Now speak out and comment below. My presence speaks louder than words. ChatGPT Janoi. Number 5. Quiet power, the unshakable magnetism of stillness. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to show off your strength to be respected. And you definitely don't need to chase attention to command it. True power doesn't scream, it whispers. And when you carry that kind of silent strength, she feels it before you ever say a word. She walks into the room and senses it. Instantly you're calm. You're grounded energy. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not begging for approval. You're just there, rooted, steady, present. And somehow, without doing much at all, you become the one everyone notices. That's the essence of quiet power. You've lived, you've struggled, you've failed and risen again. And that journey has left invisible scars that don't make you weaker, they make you real. She sees them in your eyes, in your silence, in the way you move with purpose, but without urgency. She feels drawn to you, not because you demand attention, but because you're the man who never needs to. Quiet power is the ultimate Stoic energy. Seneca never needed applause. Marcus Aurelius never asked for validation. They led by example, by presence, by a deep inner calm that couldn't be rattled by external storms. And that's the power you channel, not with your voice, but with your essence. Psychologically, this taps into what researchers call gravitational charisma. a magnetic presence rooted in self-assurance and emotional control. You become the calm in her chaos, the gravity around which she orbits, not because you pull her in, but because she wants to be near your stillness. It soothes something ancient within her. Carl Jung would see you as embodying the wise man archetype. You are not frantic, reactive, or desperate. You're observant, composed, reflective. And through that depth, she sees the man who has walked through fire and doesn't need to talk about it because his presence tells the whole story. But remember, quiet power isn't coldness. It's not detachment. It's not arrogance. It's a steady flame, not a frozen wall. You offer warmth, not noise. You offer leadership, not control. You stand tall not by overpowering others, but by never abandoning your center. You don't need to convince her of your worth. You don't need to be loud to be heard. You just need to be whole, strong, grounded. And when you are, she'll feel safe to soften, drawn, not by your words, but by the space your quiet strength creates. Now speak out and comment below. My stillness is my strength. Number 6, choosing from fullness, the power of not needing her. You don't choose her because you're lonely. You don't reach for her because you're empty. You choose her because you're already full, and that changes everything. When you enter a relationship from need, you give away your power. She feels it in your gaze, in the way you wait on her validation, in how you react when she pulls away. But when you're whole within yourself, when you've built your life with discipline, clarity, and purpose, you become the man who doesn't chase, doesn't cling, and doesn't collapse. She doesn't want to complete you. She wants to be chosen by a man who doesn't need her to breathe, but wants her because she adds meaning to an already meaningful life. That's when she leans in, because she knows you're not looking for a savior, you're inviting a partner. This is the final form of masculine attraction. It's not about what you drive, what you wear, or what you say. It's about your energy, your grounded presence, your ability to look her in the eyes and say, I see you, but I don't need you to make me feel worthy. Stoicism calls this autarkia, self-sufficiency. The Stoic man doesn't find peace in possessions, approval, or romance. He finds it in discipline, in virtue, in aligning his life with values that don't shift with mood or desire. When you embrace this, you become unshakable. You stop chasing women who drain you. You stop begging for attention. You choose from strength, not scarcity. Psychology backs this up. When you operate from intrinsic self-worth, your relationships shift. You stop over-functioning. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-giving. And in that stillness, you command respect. Carl Jung would say, you're touching individuation, the moment when your ego, your shadow, your anima are integrated into one whole being. She's not falling for a mask anymore. She's seeing the man underneath, the one who has nothing to prove and everything to give. But here's the hard truth. Getting to this place takes work. It's not a trick. It's not a pickup line. It's not pretending to be okay alone. It's becoming okay alone. Through silence, through solitude, through building your empire one disciplined day at a time. So when she enters your life, she doesn't complete your puzzle. She dances around your fire because it already burns bright. Now speak out and comment below. I choose from wholeness, not from need. Number 7, becoming unshakable. The final evolution of attraction. You don't become unforgettable because you try harder. You become unforgettable because you become unshakable. When your presence speaks louder than your words, and your energy holds its ground, no matter who stays or leaves, you become the man she never forgets. This is the destination. After cultivating emotional dominance, mystery, certainty, presence, silent strength, and inner wholeness, you arrive at a place most men never reach. The summit of masculine polarity, the place where you no longer ask, how do I impress her, but instead live a life that is already impressive by design. You see, she doesn't crave a perfect man. She craves a man who knows who he is. A man who does not sway when tested, who does not flinch when challenged, and who does not crumble when ignored. Because that man is rare. Stoicism has always pointed here. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations to be liked. He wrote it to stay anchored in chaos. Seneca didn't seek love to feel whole. He built wholeness through virtue, through acceptance, through detachment from what he couldn't control. That's you now. You are no longer seduced by illusion. You don't mistake attention for affection. You don't equate validation with value. You move in silence with purpose. Psychologically, this is self-actualization, the apex of maturity. You're not reacting from wounds. You're not repeating old patterns. You're not driven by fear of being alone. Instead, you show up with clarity. You speak with restraint, you give without expectation, and you walk away without drama. From a Jungian lens, you have embodied your archetypes. The warrior who stands his ground, the king who rules his domain, the magician who sees through deception, and the lover who connects without attachment. She feels it not because you try to show it, but because it radiates from your presence. But let's be clear. This isn't about being cold. It's about being calm. It's not about being distant. It's about being disciplined. Your power lies in the stillness behind your eyes, in the pause before you speak, in the unwavering peace when others panic. When you become this man, you don't just attract women, you attract loyalty, respect, and awe. You don't just change your relationships, you change your destiny. Because when you master yourself, the world cannot help but notice. Now speak out and comment below. I will not be moved. I am the storm's eye. Number 8. Why she chooses you even without money. You've seen it happen. A man with no luxury car, no branded suit, no public status, and yet she looks at him like he owns the room. Why? Because deep down she doesn't crave a man who has everything she craves, a man who is everything. That's the truth most men miss. You chase money hoping it will buy her attention. You flex status thinking it will guarantee her affection. But what you need to understand is this. A woman doesn't fall for your possessions, she falls for your presence. When you embody depth, clarity, and self-command, you become the gravity she orbits around, whether you live in a penthouse or a studio. Here's the paradox. When you no longer seek to impress her, you start to impress her. Because the man who chooses her from fullness, not desperation, is the man who holds all the power. You don't offer her a throne in your life because you're empty. You offer it because you're whole, and she's worthy of sharing your kingdom. This is where Stoicism sharpens into something magnetic. When you master detachment, you no longer cling to her approval. When you embrace amor fati, you stop resisting rejection. When you focus only on what's within your control, your character, your word, your discipline, you become immovable, irresistible. From a psychological standpoint, this is secure masculinity. You are not seeking a mother, a rescuer, or a savior in the form of a lover. You are grounded in your identity, and that groundedness makes her feel safe, desired, and chosen, not needed. Carl Jung would call this individuation the journey of becoming whole within yourself, integrating your shadows, your anima, your desires, and your fears, until you no longer need her to complete you. You invite her into a life that's already burning with purpose. And the truth is, women can feel that difference. She knows when you're reaching for her from hunger and when you're reaching from abundance. One pulls her in with neediness, the other seduces her with serenity. So stop asking, how can I get her, and start asking, who am I becoming? Because when you become the man who doesn't need to chase, she runs towards you willingly. Now speak out and comment below. I choose from strength, not from emptiness. You came to this video looking for what to do to gain respect. Now you know it's not about what you do. It's about what you won't allow. Because every time you ignore your own standards to keep her close, you don't gain love, you lose value. You've now seen the 5 boundaries. The silent shields that protect your peace, define your worth, and elevate your presence. Not as a game, not as manipulation, but as self-respect. And when you move with self-respect, she can feel it. In your tone, in your timing, in your ability to walk away when something violates your core. If you're done being the man who tolerates too much, like this video, subscribe and comment below. I honor my boundaries always. Stay firm, stay focused, because the man who leads with boundaries never begs for respect. He commands it by who he is.